If a global signal blackout hit tomorrow, supply chains would freeze and commercial flights would be grounded before noon. The digital world doesn't just stop, the physical movement of goods and people stops with it. On the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, where $10 trillion changes hands every day, the flow of capital would cease instantly. Every trade and every transaction is tied to a network we rarely see. When our screens die, we look to the sky. We talk about our data living in the cloud, assuming our communication is beamed through the atmosphere by a safe, ethereal system. But satellites handle less than 5% of global data. A single modern undersea cable carries more data than every satellite in orbit combined. Space networks simply lack the physical capacity to move the volume of data humanity produces. The cables that actually move your data are resting on the ocean floor. Between 95 and 99% of all intercontinental internet traffic travels through these submerged physical lines. There are roughly 600 of these active cables, stretching over 1.4 million kilometers. They form a dense physical web wrapped around the Earth's equator nearly 40 times. This entire system is physically small. For most of its journey, the cable carrying the data of entire continents is no thicker than a common garden hose. The cloud is an illusion. Our digital existence is tethered to the seabed by physical cords, resting in one of the most hostile environments on Earth. This cross-section shows the layers required for deep-sea survival. An outer jacket and steel armor wires prevent the line from snapping. Beneath is a copper conductor carrying electricity to power seafloor amplifiers. At the center are optical fibers, thinner than a human hair. Through dense wavelength division multiplexing, lasers convert your data into different colors of light. These beams shoot through the glass at 200,000 kilometers per second, bouncing off the internal walls to reach the other side of the planet. This specific engineering, wrapping microscopic glass in steel and electrified copper, is what allows a single cable to move dozens of terabits every second. Historically, these cables were built by state-backed telecom consortiums. These Victorian-era cross-sections show the start of a network that was originally managed as a shared public utility between nations. But over the last decade, ownership has shifted to 4 corporations: Google, Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon. They now own or lease about half of all undersea bandwidth. These companies use so much data for AI and cloud computing that they no longer rent space from others. Instead, they build their own private networks across the ocean floor to ensure their services never lag. These corporations have moved from providing software to owning the physical land where the internet lives, concentrating global communication power into a few private hands. Shark bites are often cited as a major threat to these cables, but modern protective sheathing has made this a non-issue. Between 2007 and 2014, 0 cable faults were caused by sharks. The primary threat is actually human activity. About 70% of cable breaks are caused by fishing trawlers dragging heavy nets like these across the seabed, or ships accidentally dropping anchors in shallow waters. Beyond human error is the force of the Earth itself. In 2006, an earthquake off Taiwan severed 9 cables simultaneously, causing financial outages across Asia that took 11 ships nearly 2 months to repair. Even the sun is a threat. Solar flares can trigger magnetic currents that blow out the copper power lines feeding the seafloor amplifiers, potentially darkening entire ocean segments. We have placed our global communications into an environment where human clumsiness, tectonic shifts, and solar activity are constant threats to the connection. Because the world's economies are physically linked through these specific choke points, they have become strategic targets. A cut in the Red Sea can instantly disrupt markets on the other side of the planet, a concept known as weaponized interdependence. This Russian vessel is part of a growing trend of research ships that military agencies warn are capable of deploying submersibles to tap into or cut these communication lines during geopolitical conflicts. Repairing a break requires specialized ships to sail into open ocean storms and drag grappling hooks across the floor to find the severed ends. Engineers must then manually splice the microscopic glass fibers back together in the middle of the sea. Our reality hangs by a literal glass wire. The physical intranet is a fragile thread, but it is also a testament to human persistence. We continue to sew these fibers back together because we refuse to be isolated.
If this journey blew your mind, hit that like button and share it with your fellow explorers. Your support keeps this universe expanding.
Subscribe to join our mission. Now tell us, what mystery should we decode next? Let us know in the comments below.